Alright boys, today I'm going to be giving you my Dark Magician 3-star demotion deck profile. And before I say anything else, this is the deck that got me to King of Games this season during the qualifiers, that got me to the final qualifiers. I gave this deck to a few of my friends. They hit me back. They told me they also got King of Games with it. You know, very strong deck, highly recommended, you know. So this deck revolves around this boy right here, the Dark Magician, you know. 7-star 2500 vanilla, but with our 3-star demotion we can pay 2000 life points, make him a 4-star, normal summon him just like the Duel Links commercial, you know. No monsters left on the field, Dark Magician, attack him directly, show him who the master is, you know. So, you know, what do you do if you don't open with Dark Magician? Well, you can open with Dark Magician Girl and Sage of Stone, special summon Dark Magician from your deck. Very strong. You can summon Legion the Fiend Jester, and you can use his effect to do an additional tribute summon and summon Dark Magician Girl by tributing him. You don't even need to use your skill. And then his ability, when he goes to the graveyard, you can search a vanilla spellcaster like Dark Magician. So, you know, sacrifice, get your Dark Magician Girl out, search out your Dark Magician. Really positive engine. And before I made any videos, before I even used this deck, I was discussing the deck with other people, and they wanted to know why I didn't use Blue Dragon Summoner in addition to the Fiend Jester. And the reason for that is because while Blue Dragon Summoner is a great card, it's a good card, don't get me wrong, it's not as good as Jester, and there just isn't enough room. Because if you start using Blue Dragon Summoner, it's taking up deck slots for the Dark Magician support cards that make him good in the first place. So I do feel he slows the deck down a little bit, he waters the deck down, but he is a good replacement. If you don't have 3 Jesters, you can put him in over 1 and you should be okay. I know one guy, he said he only had 2 Jesters and he subbed in a Blue Dragon Summoner and he hit King of Games with it. So, but you know, that's just the thought process behind that. You know, you got 3 Supremacy Berries right here to replenish your life points after using the skill. You know, Dark Magic Attack. Let me talk about this card for a minute, because it's a strong card. You know, just blow up their back row, gone. However, you do not want to blow up a Wild Tornado and blow up your Dark Magician. Let me say that. I did that quite a few times, and it's not a good look. So be careful versus Harpies, you know, Joeys, and Odeons. Those are the main people that run Wild Tornado. You know, Bluff Trap, Last Gamble, and Harpie's Hunting Ground. So be real mindful of that. And Security Orbs too, actually. But I actually didn't see too many Security Orbs, so you know, that wasn't my main concern. Another play with this card is if you open with this, or you're playing a Harpies player and they have no back row set, you use Dark Magic Attack, blow up their own field spell, and then what that does, you don't have to worry about their own Wild Tornadoes later and them summoning a Harpy. And it also gives you more recess to use your Champion's Vigilance, because if they have Harpie's Hunting Ground on the field and they summon a Harpy, you basically have to use Champion's Vigilance to negate that summon, or you're not going to get value out of Champion's Vigilance. So doing that lets you be more flexible with your Champion's Vigilance and get more value out of them. So that's just something to think about. And just using this card just to blow up Harpie's Hunting Ground won me multiple games. So something to think about. Sage of Stone, strong card. Dark Magician Girl on the field, special summon Dark Magician. Like, what's not to love? 1,000 Knives, you know, just really good card. Blow up a monster, you know, blow up a Yomi ship. You know, if you just summon Dark Magician, he's got 4 stars, and you fear the 4-star Ladybug, you're playing a Joey or something, you're playing a Weevil, and you don't want to blow up your own monster, you know, 1,000 Knives, get him out of there. Scared of Hane, you know, blow him up, get it out of there. And you could probably ditch a 3rd Sage of Stone for 1,000 Knives, you know. If you don't have 3 berries, 3 Sage of Stones, you know, just replace them with 1,000 Knives. You know, however you need. Just fill the holes however you need. And Champion's Vigilance, the cornerstone of the deck, the most powerful trap card in the game. Negating summons, negating spells and traps, you name it. It's just too good, man. This is the card that wins you games, alright? So, one thing to note with this card is it's really finicky about special summons. If you're playing against a relinquished player, you have to use it on Black Illusion Ritual. You can't use it on the relinquished summon. You have to use it on Black Illusion Ritual. If you're playing a Mako, they hit you with the big wave, small wave. You gotta use it on big wave, small wave. You can't use it on the actual special summon. So that's just something to think about with this card. You know, hold on. You know, this is the deck. This is alright. This is a really powerful deck. I'm sorry about that. You know, it doesn't really have bad matchups. The main reason you're gonna lose with this deck is a bad hand. So you're either gonna have a great hand and explode all over your opponent, or you're gonna have a bad hand and just kind of roll over. But the good thing about this deck is, even if you draw a bad hand, you're usually just 1 or 2 cards away from having a great hand. Like in one of my promo matches, I drew Dark Magician Girl and 3 Champions Vigilance as my opening hand. I'm like, man, this hand sucks. But you know, the heart of the cards was inside me, and I drew my very first draw was Sage's Stone, which turned a bad hand into the best potential hand in the deck, you know. So, you know, you need the heart of the cards with this deck. So if you use this deck, you have some success with it, you know, let me know in the comments section. You know, like and subscribe. That's all I have for this deck.